No stubble yet. Hey everyone, it's Kat and welcome to my channel. I'm over 50 years old and I love makeup and skincare products. And today we are going to talk primers. With so many primers available on the market, it's so overwhelming to find what's best for our face. Everything from drugstore to high-end with different types of formula. It's so easy to get confused and overwhelmed to find out what's best for your needs. Do you need to find a primer that's going to fill in your pores and those fine lines? Or do you need something that's hydrating, that'll moisturize your face with skin-loving ingredients? What about having an oily complexion and you need something to mattify? Or how about you need a little extra glow if your complexion is dull? Well, we are going to get into it. We're going to talk ingredients. We're going to talk drugstore to high-end. And in case you're interested, then keep on watching. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Cat's Eye Beauty. And if you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. Please consider subscribing. I would love it if you would be a part of my family. Okay, let's dive into primers. Oh my gosh, there are so many primers. I'm looking at them right now and I can't wait to dive into ingredients and what your skincare needs are. Let's start out with ingredients. Now, a common ingredient that's found in a majority of primers is Cyclo Siloxane. What exactly is that? It's commonly known as silicone, and it's found in most medical implants, sealants, lubricants, as well as windshield seals. So basically, you're putting silicone on top of your face, on top of your complexion, and it's creating a barrier. So when you apply your foundation, it'll just glide on. Now, my all-time favorite go-to primer is, of course, the Touch and Soul No Problem Primer. Cyclo Siloxane is the first ingredient in this particular primer, as well as the LA Girl Pro Prep HD High Definition Primer. This is very similar to the beloved Smashbox Primer. And as you can see, it does look like lubricant. I love saying that word, sorry. It creates a barrier on top of your skin. So when your foundation goes on, it just lays right on top of that barrier. Now, I recently just shaved my face for the first time ever, and I'll put the link to the video up here. I cannot tell you how smooth my skin is, and so far, no stubble. It's been several days and I don't see any growth, but I have noticed with all my skincare ingredients and especially applying primer, my face is so smooth and my foundation goes on beautifully and it doesn't settle into my fine lines. As far as blurring your pores and filling in those fine lines, I highly recommend finding a primer that does contain that silicone. Now, the Cyclo Siloxane is odorless, colorless, and non-greasy. This primer actually creates a velvety, smooth complexion, and I absolutely love it. This retails for $18. This is like $5.99. So as you can see, primers can run the gamut. You can get drugstore or you can get high-end. So you're going to find Cyclo Siloxane and a lot of primer ingredients. You're also going to find dimethicone, which is another form of silicone, in primers as well. So if you're allergic to silicone, it's best to steer clear from that because you don't want to have any sort of allergic reactions. So, oily complexion. What is the best primer to absorb that oil and create a mattifying effect? I actually love the HelloFab Pores Begone Matte Primer. Now, what I love about this primer is that it's oil-free and it's infused with fig extract, which is also a great skin-loving ingredient. So it really does mattify and blur your pores. But the consistency is very much like a lotion, and you just apply it on and it just is so beautifully mattifying, and it definitely blurs your pores. And it also helps your makeup last all day long. Oh my gosh, this smells so wonderful. I gotta put on my specs for this. This also does contain dimethicone, but I find it so mattifying, and I love using this primer during the hot, humid summer months. It does provide a beautiful smooth canvas without looking too shiny. And this is oil-free, so you don't have to worry about your pores getting clogged. It has a fantastic scent, and I think it's all due to the fig extract. This is a great primer, particularly for the summer. But this is the HelloFab Pores Begone Matte Primer. Fabulous primer. I was talking to one of my friends today and I asked her, what is your favorite primer? Which one do you use? And she said she loved the Too Faced Hangover Primer. And I love that primer. That was probably the first primer I ever started using a few years ago. I had it somewhere, but I don't have it anymore. I probably decluttered it. But when I asked her, what is your skincare concerns? She said, I wanted something moisturizing. She said she liked hydrating primers because her skin is dry. A great primer that hydrates your skin all day long is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Primer. This is amazing. It contains skin-loving ingredients and it moisturizes your face all day long. It comes out in a pump. This one is super moisturizing and hydrating. If you have dry skin, you would absolutely love this primer. And it smells like coconut because it is infused with coconut water. Coconut water and hyaluronic acid, as we all know, hyaluronic acid does draw moisture out of the atmosphere and into your skin. So if you have dry skin, this is a fantastic primer. Now, what about having a dull, lackluster complexion? Do you need a primer that's going to give your skin an extra glow underneath your foundation? There are several from drugstore to high-end to give you that natural glowing from within. One of my favorite drugstore primers that gives you that glow is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer Dewy LUMINEUX. Oh my goodness, the Dewy LUMINEUX has a slight tint to it. And it doesn't have a sparkly glow to it, it just has like a beautiful sheen to it. It's so pretty and so subtle underneath your foundation. Now, it's not gonna blur your pores and cover up your fine lines. Usually when I use a glowy primer like this, I like to put it on the perimeter of my face to have a natural glow from within, especially if I'm wearing a heavier foundation that's mattifying. It just peeks out beautifully from underneath my foundation, giving me that natural glow. Now, if you wanna go high-end and get a natural glow, I absolutely love the Hollywood Flawless Filter. This adds such a beautiful glow, somewhat similar to the Dewy LUMINEUX, but it's a little bit thicker, and of course it comes out in a doe foot. This does come in a variety of shades, but see how it goes on. It looks kind of light, but then you just rub it into your complexion and it blends so beautifully. It peeks through your foundation and it just gives you that beautiful lit from within glow. And who doesn't want to glow at our age? I mean, I'm having a hot flash right now. I must look sweaty. But yes, this gives a beautiful natural glow from underneath your foundation. It's pricey and it kind of smells. No, a little bit goes a long way with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. Do you want a dewy complexion? The e.l.f. JELLYPOP Dew Primer, oh my gosh, absolutely love this stuff. It actually smells like watermelon and it has a very unique consistency. And it comes in a plastic tube like so, and you pump it out. Now, upon first application, don't get turned off by the consistency. It's super sticky and gelatinous, but I don't know what's in this magic. Once you apply it and it absorbs into your complexion, something magical happens. Now, you apply it and you have to wait at least a minute for it to absorb into your complexion. But oh my gosh, when you apply your foundation really locks into this primer and your makeup lasts beautifully all day long. The e.l.f. JELLYPOP Dew Primer reminded me a great deal of the Milk Hydro Primer. I actually tried the Milk Hydro Primer, did not like it. I found it too sticky on my complexion. Even though I waited a couple minutes for it to absorb into my complexion, it just did not work for me. I also broke out from using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It's great for oily complexions, so there's an option for you there. The Milk Hydro Grip does contain alcohol and it also contains aloe vera, which is very soothing. I thought I would love that primer, but unfortunately it broke me out. I think a cheaper alternative, which for me is the e.l.f. JELLYPOP Dew Primer. Now let's talk about the Tasha Silk Canvas Primer. I remember when this first came out and everybody was going nuts over it. How it made your face super flawless, blur your pores, and it has that signature Tasha smell. Now, as you can see, this is very well loved. Now, this primer is good for normal, oily, combination, dry, sensitive skin. So yeah, it runs the gamut. If you have skin, it's good for your face. I was actually a huge fan of this when it first came out. I started moving and gravitating more towards a silicone-based primer that is lighter on my complexion and easier to apply. But how do you use this? You take a tiny bit with the coin and then apply it to your skin. As you rub it in, it melts into your complexion and it has that fantastic smell. This one is great for blurring your pores and helping your foundation not settle into fine lines. Almost an uneven texture as well as oiliness. So If you have large pores, you have an oily complexion, uneven texture, you would absolutely love it. Now the best dupe that I found for this, of course, is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. Now this putty primer actually comes in 3 different formulas. You've got the matte formula, the luminous formula, which comes in a universal shade, as well as the hydrating formula. I absolutely love the luminous one. This is $8. It's amazing. It blurs your pores and it provides a luminous glow at the same time. I think the consistency of this primer is way smoother and more malleable than the Tasha Silk Canvas Primer. I love the luminous putty primer from e.l.f. Let's not forget why we want to use primers. We want to create that smooth canvas so our foundation and our blush and our highlighter goes on seamlessly. One of my tricks that I love to do to get a beautiful complexion is combining different types of primers. I like to go in first with the No Problem Primer, only in my porous areas and through here. To get a beautiful glow, I then go in with either the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter or the Dewy Lumina from Wet n Wild. That way I know my pores are going to be filled in as well as my fine lines, but then I have such a beautiful luminous glow underneath. You can find out what works best for you. You don't have to just slap on one type of primer and call it a day. Think of your complexion as a map. Where do you want to glow? Where do you want to fill in those fine lines? You can combine different types of primers to get that perfect glow, to fill in those fine lines as well as those pores. What is your favorite primer? Is it a drugstore? Is it high-end? Leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite primer is. What are your primer needs? Do you need something that's pore filling? Do you need something that'll hydrate? Or do you need something that's gonna mattify your oily complexion? I'm dying to know, and I'd love to hear your suggestions on your favorite primers. I hope you enjoyed this video on all types of primers, learning a little bit about chemicals and how primers work and what works best for every different type of skincare need. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I would love it if you would be a part of my family. And for more reviews on makeup and skincare, check out these videos over here. But for now, mwah, mahal kita, I love you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.